833-NURSE. Now to sports. The NFL's divisional round wrapping up yesterday with two dramatic wins. New England Patriots defense suffocating the Houston Texans in their 28-16 win, forcing 5 turnovers throughout the game. And this Los Angeles Rams braved the cold for a 20-17 victory over the Chicago Bears. My sister's in town for this one and was really sad about that one. In overtime, the Rams defense came up big with a key interception leading to a game-winning field goal. My sister lives in Chicago. All right, the NFL playoffs return on Sunday for the AFC Championship game between the Patriots and Broncos at 1. Then the Rams take on the Seahawks for the NFC crown at 4:30. Well, a champion will be crowned tonight. The undefeated number 1 seeded Indiana Hoosiers face number 10 Miami Hurricanes in the national championship game. Indiana makes its first title game appearance, while Miami is chasing its first national championship since 2001. The Orange Bowl kicks off at 5:30 on ESPN. 4:51 right now. President Donald Trump's push for Greenland is drawing international pushback. How Europe and allies are responding to the pressure.
President Trump's wrapping up his first year of his second term in office. I'm Rachel Hersheimer in Washington with the promises kept and the work that lies ahead.
We have dry skies to start this week, but let's look ahead towards the end of this week. A couple computer model opinions of how Friday and Saturday may play out. So first, the GFS American model showing that on Friday, chances it looks like of both rain and snow showers will start to increase kind of around the northern and eastern edges of the state on Friday, with the brunt of this storm system probably hitting Friday night and into Saturday morning. You can see precipitation increasing into this time period. But the GFS model does not crank out as much precipitation, showing both rain and snow still around on Saturday. And here are the forecast snowfall totals by the end of the day Saturday. Portions of eastern, northern New Mexico look to be most favored. Now, the European model is coming in wetter, and so it does bring better chances at both rain and snow to the state starting on Friday, with the storm system increasing in intensity as well Friday night and into Saturday morning. But the European shows a lot of moisture around on Saturday and the potential for some very heavy snowfall, especially over portions of eastern and northern New Mexico. But it does fill in here for the central and west as well. We're not going to go ahead and jump on that solution just yet, but here's the bottom line. Late this week, it looks like Friday night, Saturday, rain and snow chances will be on the increase, and snow accumulation is possible right now favoring eastern and northern New Mexico. How much snow we pick up from the storm system is uncertain. We'll continue to monitor it, but just know it's been a long, dry stretch, and Friday night and Saturday, that's when it looks like the next chance at rain and snow is going to be in play for just about all of us around the state.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Breaking news coming out of Spain this morning. 39 people were killed in a deadly high-speed train crash. Dozens more were hurt. Police say one train derailed and slammed into another last night, sending multiple cars off the tracks. Rescue crews are still trying to work through the scene. Officials aren't sure yet what exactly went wrong. European leaders are confronting President Donald Trump this week at the World Economic Summit. They're upset over threatened tariffs on countries opposing the U.S.'s control of Greenland. The Trump administration insists Greenland is critical for national security. Europe says it may retaliate with trade restrictions. Canada and France could also increase military presence on the island. Lawmakers stress there's no immediate threat.
If he wants to purchase Greenland, that's one thing. But for him to militarily invade would turn Article 5 of NATO on its very head and, in essence, put us at war with NATO itself.
A Supreme Court ruling expected this week could limit President Donald Trump's ability to enforce tariffs. New financial records show President Trump bought $51 million in company and local government debt late last year. The White House filing shows 191 financial transactions, including up to $2 million in Netflix and Discovery Communications bonds. The purchases came after Netflix announced plans to buy Warner Brothers. Student loan borrowers in default will no longer have their wages garnished. That's while the government reforms its loan program. The Education Department is also halting taking tax refunds and ending federal benefits for default borrowers. Officials say this pause will give them some time to make loan system changes. More than 5 million borrowers are in default and nearly 4 million are delinquent. Doctors always tell us how important it is to manage our LDL, or bad cholesterol. Now, as Dr. Barry Ramos shows us, dropping those numbers even further could have even more health benefits.
When your doctor orders a cholesterol test, they're looking at the LDL cholesterol. That's the fat in your blood that deposits inside the arteries and over time can cause narrowing of the arteries and ultimately lead to stroke or heart attack. Currently, the recommendations are that the LDL cholesterol for someone who's not at high risk should be below 100 milligrams per deciliter. On the other hand, if you're at high risk, it should be below 70 milligrams per deciliter. But reports recently from the Cleveland Clinic and other centers have demonstrated that you can actually get reversal of the coronary artery disease, the plaque in the arteries, by reducing the LDL cholesterol below 50. This picture demonstrates what's happening. There are 3 coronary arteries, and you can see by the arrows there are areas of narrowing. After 3 years of intense lowering of the LDL cholesterol, the narrowing has almost disappeared. Well, this information is exciting because it means that the disease can be reversed by lowering the LDL cholesterol to a significantly lower level than we previously thought. So it's worth talking to your doctor about it. For Health Beat, I'm Dr. Barry Ramo, KOAT Action 7 News.
All right, we got a story just for you,
Okay,
Eric.
all right.
The only Ferrari 250 GTO ever made in white
Look at that.
has sold at auction for $38 million. Actually, it was over $38 million.
Just 38 million shy of
That's it,
purchasing
yeah.
that. Huh.
The 1962 Bianco Speciale is one of the most coveted Ferrari models. Top speed, 174 miles per hour. Wow. It's a gorgeous machine.
GTO stands for Gran Turismo Omologato, which means homologated for racing. So that was a vintage Ferrari race car. Vintage Ferraris, they're like Picassos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just must-have stuff for the world's billionaires.
So you buy something like that. I mean, do you ever drive it? I'd be so scared to take it out
Pretty
of the garage.
much doubt it, right?
Show it off to your friends.
Right. You know, if you can afford that Ferrari, you probably have a living room big enough to put the car in your living room, and then you can really show it to your friends, you know?
Well, time for a new hour of Action 7 News. More in the morning.
Coverage you can count on. KOAT Action 7 News More in the Morning starts right now.
President Donald Trump's wrapping up his first year of his second term in office. Our own Rachel Hersheimer is standing by in Washington, D.C. with the promises kept and the work that lies ahead. Many government offices and businesses closed today for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We have a list of the places that are open if you do need to run some errands on this federal holiday. In 2026, many still feeling the financial pinch. Our own Alyssa Munoz talks to an expert who has some ideas on how to stretch your dollar in a tight economy. Good morning, New Mexico. Welcome to Monday, January 19th. I'm Royal Day. Let's get a check of our KOAT7 weather forecast. Eric, there's a little bit of a bite in the air this morning.
Yeah, today is going to be running a little bit cooler than yesterday. We'll feel a difference in the air. We are still watching the end of this week. Remember, last week we were talking about maybe by the end of this week, that next rain and snow chance will find us. And it does look like it's still on track. So this, at least dry run is coming to an end. Temperatures will be a bit up and down this week. We right now sit at 30. We have dipped below freezing. Granted, just barely. There are teens in Raton and Las Vegas, and Grants is sitting at 18 as well. You know, in parts of eastern New Mexico, we've got some, I wouldn't call them strong winds, but some breezes in the 10 to 15 range. Winds have recently calmed here in Albuquerque. But look at the wind chills in places like Santa Rosa and Tucumcari, upper teens, lower 20s. It feels like 7 right now in Las Vegas, 13 in Grants. There are some cold spots. If you have to be up early this morning and out the door, you will want a warm winter coat on. Most of us below freezing. Now, the bulk of this patchy cloud cover around this morning is going to work through midday and later this afternoon. Note our afternoon temperatures. They'll be in the 40s and 50s. Mildest spots here will be in the southwest New Mexico. This is where we feel a pretty significant afternoon to afternoon difference from yesterday. Eastern New Mexico running, 15 cooler than yesterday with those highs today only in the 30s and 40s. And, by 7 o'clock this evening, we're back down in the lower 20s in places like Raton and Vegas. Bouts of easterly breezes will be experienced at times. Most noticeable in east central and southeast New Mexico. Here in Albuquerque, we'll catch these east winds at around 10 at times. You can see the cloud cover by midday and this afternoon is pretty much gone. But temperatures today will struggle to get just barely above 50, which is a drop compared to yesterday, but still a few degrees above average here for the middle of January. So, another pretty nice afternoon for the time of year is expected.
All right, thank you, Eric. Let's get a check of the roads right now. It is a holiday, so probably light traffic out there this morning. No big accidents to tell you about or slowdowns. That drive between Santa Fe and Albuquerque is looking good. If you're traveling through Bernalillo this morning, no issues there to tell you about. That's in the green. And south of the metro, everything is running smoothly. Here are your live drive times. Santa Fe to Albuquerque, 41 minutes. Rio Rancho de Paseo is an 8-minute drive on southbound 528. And Los Lunas to Albuquerque, no problems there to tell you about. That drives right on time at 17 minutes. It's been 1 year since President Donald Trump took office, and there's a lot to unpack from the past 12 months. KOAT's Rachel Hersheimer takes a look at the actions he's taken and the promises for the future.
Before returning to the White House, President Trump campaigned on his America First agenda, starting with immigration.
We're going to have the largest deportation of criminals in history.
In 2025, the Department of Homeland Security reports its enforcement operation led to the arrest of more than 595,000 undocumented immigrants, more than all 4 years of the Biden administration combined.
This is one where I think a lot of Trump supporters are like, yes, this is exactly what we were looking for.
We're going to tariff the hell out of countries that have been taking advantage of us and stealing our jobs.
The president also slapped tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico, just to name a few. The Supreme Court is now deciding whether most of those policies are constitutional.
In some industries, it has in fact contributed to ongoing inflation, and in some places it may eventually help American manufacturers. But right now, it's a pretty chaotic picture.
Putting pen to paper, President Trump signed his so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, including key pieces of his domestic agenda, from various tax breaks, funds towards border and national security, and rolling back green energy investments.
Wages have been somewhat stagnant. Job growth hasn't been as pronounced as he would have liked. And of course, prices are very high. Inflation remains a problem.
Throughout the past year, the president's been largely focusing on international conflicts, a major rebrand for his America First agenda.
Well, that is actually one of the biggest things that shows up in the polling and in people's remarks about him. They don't like the fact that he's spending all this time on foreign affairs.
The administration has been recently shifting its focus to the economy, which the president claims is surging despite concerns about higher prices. In Washington, I'm Rachel Hersheimer.
Thank you, Rachel. There are a lot of closures because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That includes most city, county, and federal offices. There's also no mail service. Trash will be picked up here in Albuquerque. ABQ ride buses are on a normal schedule, and the Rail Runner will be on a Saturday schedule. Albuquerque's City Council is considering a zoning change that could reshape how neighborhoods look. The Journal says the proposed amendments to the city's development code allows townhomes, duplexes, or small businesses in residential areas. Supporters say it could help address the city's housing shortage. Critics fear higher rents. The committee votes on the changes next week. Heading into the new week, many people are still under a lot of financial pressure. Our own Alyssa Munoz joins us live this morning. And Alyssa, with prices up everywhere, sadly, New Mexico families are forced to make some tough decisions.
Royal, that's right. Cutting back on non-essentials is one way to save money, but a lot of people are actually cutting back on essentials such as groceries or healthcare. According to a survey by Resume Now, 40% cut back on grocery spending in 2025, and more than 20% have tried to delay doctor visits or healthcare issues due to the cost. Now, nearly half have also dipped into their savings. Chris Erickson, an economics professor for NMSU, says people cutting out necessities in their life is concerning. He adds the best thing is to not cut things out completely of your budget, but find cheaper alternatives.
Classic example right now, beef has gone up in price more than other goods, more than other groceries. And so buying chicken instead is a way to economize where you're not giving up protein altogether.
Now, Erickson says if you do need a dip in your savings, that's okay, and to not feel ashamed. Reporting live in Albuquerque, I'm Alyssa Munoz, KOAT Action 7 News.
Alyssa, thank you. It is now 5:07. Flu cases surging and Albuquerque hospitals are packed to capacity.
When we are at high capacity, it slows everything down.
Well, coming up, how local hospitals are trying to keep up and what this means for you, the patient. But first, the White House now investigating Minneapolis officials over their handling of ICE as tensions continue after the deadly shooting of Renee Good. The Pentagon has troops on standby, and federal officials are going to be weighing in on this next.
10 minutes after 5 as we kick off this Monday morning. We're still about 2 hours from sunrise. So as we look back at Albuquerque from Rio Rancho, there's a little patchy cloud cover overhead, still all the way dark. Sure is cold, way below freezing in Santa Fe at 23. It's 28 in Rio Rancho right now at 30 at the Sunport. Going to need a coat on if you have to be up and out the door early this morning for sure. Later on this afternoon, more of these sweater weather temperatures. While we do have clouds around this morning, should be sunny this afternoon. It's a January day. We'll be above 50 degrees. That's a little above average. We'll consider that a win.
Well, thank you, Eric. New on 7, the Pentagon has put troops on standby as protests continue to grow in Minneapolis following the deadly shooting of Renee Good by an ICE officer. Nearly 1,500 active duty paratroopers in Alaska are now on alert. Defense officials say these are, quote, prudent steps to prepare. The FBI is also asking agents nationwide to volunteer to assist in Minneapolis, though no mission has actually been assigned.
We are not investigating, and if there comes a time when we need to, we will, but it's not now.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice launches an investigation into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey over alleged obstruction of law enforcement. Mayor Frey defends his actions, saying, quote, Americans are free to speak out without fear of federal retaliation. We'll be right back.
All right, well, we've got our eyes on another batch of cold rushing down the plains, and it will be most noticeable today out in eastern New Mexico. The temperature drop compared to yesterday. We still are not tapping into any active moisture or any kind of rain or snow chance until probably the end of the week. Note it's going to be 30s and 40s out in eastern New Mexico, replacing your 50s and 60s from yesterday. Now for the central and western part of the state, we're still above 50 in Albuquerque, and there's this little pocket of 60s over southwest New Mexico. So it's not a big change for the central and west. That's kind of how we did last week too. We would have these sharp drops out east that would last a day to two, followed by a rebound and then another batch of cold. And well, we got another one coming in today. There could be some bouts of easterly breezes that, may brush Albuquerque, but they'll be most prevalent in the eastern western and southeastern part of the state. Look at how cold we expect it to be tonight. Widespread teens and 20s. Those below freezing temperatures way down into southern New Mexico. Roswell, we've got your low at 19. Carlsbad drops to 22, even below what we expect to dip to here in the Albuquerque metro. Considerable recovery, as is typically the case out in eastern New Mexico behind these cold fronts. We bounce right back into the 50s from Raton all the way down through Roswell and Carlsbad. For the central and western part of the state, it's not a big change day to day. We're still in the 50 to about 60 degree temperature range. Should have lots of sunshine for our Tuesday. It'll be just a bit breezy in the east central part of the state. This is Wednesday, making another step up. It's going to be those numbers well into the 50s in southern and southeastern New Mexico. A few 60s down south. Should have a mostly sunny sky. So yet another pleasant January day. I think Wednesday's breezes will come in lighter for most. Still could be 15 plus though around Las Vegas. Here you go, northwest New Mexico, Four Corners area. It's upper 40s, lower 50s. We may drop a couple for our Tuesday and then Wednesday, but we'll still keep it pretty close to 50 degrees. Up a couple Thursday as clouds start to build. And then, yes, we are watching Friday and Saturday for the chance at some rain, wintry mix, and mountain snow showers. Here's southwest New Mexico. Got the highs right around 60, give or take, for the next few days. Thursday, a day with increasing clouds. And then Friday, chances at rain and maybe a little mountain snow in the mix into Saturday, especially Saturday morning here in the area. Here's southeast New Mexico, running cooler today. Again, we've got highs around 40 in Fort Sumner, numbers closer to 50 around Roswell through the Carlsbad area. We do creep back up to about 60 Wednesday, Thursday with the building clouds, and then watching for rain and chances at mountain snow Friday, continuing Saturday with another weekend cool down coming our way. Here's northeast New Mexico, running chilly. Barely above freezing for Raton and Las Vegas. Highs lower 40, Cedar Crest, Edgewood towards Moriarty. Santa Rosa may struggle to hit 40 degrees. While we're only at 34 today in Las Vegas, we're up 20 tomorrow. In the mid 50s again Wednesday, Thursday. Then there's another pretty significant drop Friday into Saturday paired with that chance at snow and some significant snow accumulation up on the mountains. North central New Mexico in the 40s to around 50 degrees in the Espanola Valley. We do creep the temperatures up slightly into Thursday building clouds. Friday, Saturday, yeah, chances for wintry mix and snow showers in play. For the Albuquerque metro, well, here we are enjoying another January afternoon on the plus side of 50 degrees. There's the average high 49. So we are still above average this week, but only a little above average. Creeping a little further into those middle 50s into Thursday. And then Friday here around Albuquerque, we'll call it right now a 30% chance at rain and snow showers and a little higher 40% chance for our Saturday. We probably will trend to dry out by Sunday, but watching late in the week here for some much needed wintertime precipitation here in the area.
Thank you, Eric. More families are falling behind on car payments or even losing their cars. As high prices and interest rates continue, staying on budget matters now more than ever. Consumer Reports' Corey Howard shows you how to protect your budget when buying or leasing a car.
New car prices are averaging around $50,000, and interest rates are nearly 7%. A dean of the School of Public Policy at the University of Maryland says tariffs are not helping.
It has affected the price of these vehicles, and it affects consumers' ability to afford them.
That's why Consumer Reports says it's especially important for shoppers to know what to expect when buying a new vehicle.
You want to watch out for things like add-ons and extras and fees that can push up a price by hundreds or thousands of dollars.
To compare prices and see what's available near you, check the manufacturer's website, plus places like TrueCar, Cars.com, or CR's Build and Buy service. If local dealers don't have what you want, look outside of your immediate area. Also, it's worth looking into financing through your bank or credit union.
Sometimes dealerships offer promotional financing, which can save you a lot of money. But at the very least, talking to the bank gives you a baseline that you can compare against what the dealer offers.
Consumer Reports cautions against those 84 to 96-month loans. The monthly payment may seem manageable, but interest can drive the overall cost much higher. And for buyers thinking about leasing, there are trade-offs.
Make sure you know what the mileage limits are, the fees that you could face at the end of that lease, and any sort of maintenance or repairs that you have to pay when you turn in the car at the end of the lease.
And don't feel rushed into signing a contract. Make sure you understand what you're agreeing to. For Consumer Reports, I'm Corey Howard.
All right, thank you, Corey. When it comes to extended warranties, Consumer Reports says those can also add thousands to the price. They recommend choosing a reliable car and then setting aside a little emergency fund instead. We have some first birthdays to celebrate this morning. I like this one. So this is Renly Rose. Just reading a little Christmas book there. Santa's sleigh is on its way to New Mexico. Renly, I have not read that one, but you look like you're enjoying it. Love the bows in the hair too.
Well, the way that photo is lit too,
It's like very magical, right?
It does.
Yeah. Happy first birthday to Renly, and happy first birthday to this handsome fella.
Fine dressed man
Scotty
right there.
Lee Richardson III with the bow tie and the suspenders. Scotty Lee, you are so very cute. We also hope you had a very special first birthday. Remember, you can upload those first birthday photos on our You Local group. You will find that on Facebook. All right, let's pull up the Traffic Watch 7 map for you right here. I'm going to show you what it's looking like around the metro. So far, so good. A lot of green. Everything is looking good right in the heart of the city near the Big I. If you're traveling through the South Valley soon, headed to the interstate, no slowdowns there to let you know about. And the North Valley is looking good. Let's take a look at your bridge crossing. So here's Montano, Paseo, Alameda. Everything is green getting across the river right now. Live drive times, Coors and Alameda to the Big I. That'll take you about 12 minutes. Rio Rancho, good morning to you. If you're headed to the Big I soon, and we'll take Paseo to get there, that's a 14-minute drive. And Rio Bravo and Coors to Big I right now, that will take you about 11 minutes, a little fast. Here is today's Sunrise Selfie winner. So congratulations to Orlando Peshlakai. Nice smile, Orlando. Thanks for sending that to us. For your chance to win a mug courtesy of Blake's Lotta Burger, just take a selfie, post it to the KOAT local Facebook page with the hashtag Sunrise Selfie. It is now 5:21. The legislative session kicks off tomorrow at the Roundhouse, and the pressure is building for lawmakers to cap medical malpractice lawsuits in New Mexico. And coming up, the two bills looking to take on that issue.
So we're really looking for thoughtful reform to protect patients and strengthen our healthcare.
KOAT's John Rapolo explains the showdown happening now between one hospital and a state legal organization.
Well, it's just about 5:30, and I want to talk about the end of this week, starting Friday, continuing Saturday. Now, we're going to give you two computer model solutions, but they both do show precipitation. This is the GFS American model, showing late in the day and Friday an increase in the rain and snow chances that are definitely going to spill on over into Saturday morning here as we take a look at the latest computer model run here. Saturday could be a day with accumulating snow. There's a little less here on the GFS than what the Euro is going to show us. Now, the Euro is the wetter of the two models here, but they both do suggest this increase in both rain and wintry mix and snow showers into Friday and Friday night. Continuing Saturday morning, the Euro just shows a lot more moisture around and more significant snow accumulations. I mean, these numbers showing widespread 4-inch snow potential, but again, once again favoring eastern and portions of northern New Mexico. So let's just deduce what we can from this. The bottom line is there is rain and snow chances certainly in play Friday night, continuing Saturday. Snow accumulation is going to be possible with right now eastern and northern New Mexico looking like the most favored areas, but how much snow this storm system does produce here in New Mexico, highly uncertain right now, but I would at least hold some moderate hope that we're going to get a big dumping on our ski areas, and this could be one of those epic weekends for skiing coming up this upcoming weekend.
Some great news, Eric. Thank you. New on 7, a new report calls for a shift in how New Mexico manages its groundwater as water supplies continue to decline. According to a New Mexico 360 groundwater report, aquifers provide 78% of drinking water and more than half of the state's overall water supply, with surface water expected to decline up to 30% by 2050. Experts say groundwater management is needed as we plan for a drier future. UNM students now have a new way to get around campus safely after dark. The Lobo Lift service is available for students who are studying late, leaving evening club meetings, or traveling across campus at night. Students can call the number on your screen to request a free ride from a trained student employee. The service starts tomorrow at 5 p.m. Coming up tonight on KOAT 7 at 7, Will Trent, followed by Dirty Talk, when daytime talk shows ruled TV. That's at 9. Then don't miss Action 7 News live at 10 with Sasha and Doug tonight. It is 5:27 on this Monday morning, January 19th.
Airwick's Essential Mist Diffuser is conveniently cordless and portable for the type of person who's always inviting friends to. With adjustable fragrance levels and a wide range of scents, Airwick Essential Mist creates an inviting ambiance every time you host. Airwick, always fragrant, always inviting.
No application fee if you apply by February 11th at University of Maryland Global Campus, offering online and hybrid courses and lifetime career services. Learn about our more than 135 degrees and certificates at umgc.edu.
Be the one thing that can change everything. Be bold. Be authentic. In a world where you can be anything. Be love. Be love. Be love. Be love. Pandora.
In today's Tech Bites, Elon Musk is reportedly seeking up to $134 billion in damages from OpenAI. Musk cites the staggering figure in a new filing in his lawsuit. He's accusing OpenAI of defrauding him by abandoning its nonprofit status after he put up $38 million in seed money. Next, Microsoft is out with an emergency fix for those who haven't been able to shut down their Windows 11 device recently. It was necessary after bugs popped up with Microsoft's latest security update. Despite the fix, some users are still reporting problems. Finally, Matt Damon is revealing how Netflix is influencing filmmaking. Damon says during the production of a new Netflix movie, there were suggestions to repeat the film's plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue. The reason? Because people watching at home might be distracted by their phones. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Sophie Flagg. Have a great day.
Coverage you can count on. KOAT Action 7 News More in the Morning starts right now.
Lawmakers head back to Santa Fe tomorrow for a fast-paced 30-day session. They have a packed agenda and mounting pressure to deliver results. And medical malpractice reform will be one of their biggest tasks. A look at the 2 bills aimed at tackling this issue and the debate over whether new laws will help with the state's doctor shortage. A growing problem for New Mexico's forests, thousands of acres of trees dying across the state. The tiny culprit that's doing some major damage. And it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a look at how New Mexico is celebrating the life and civil rights work of Dr. King. Good morning, New Mexico. It is Monday, January 19th. I'm Royal Day. Let's get a check of our KOAT7 weather forecast. And Eric, we're cooling it down a little bit after that weekend.
Yeah, you know, it was beautiful this weekend. It still looks pretty nice this week, but there's another one of those temperature drops that will be most noticeable out over eastern New Mexico. But we're going to be running a little bit lower than where we topped out yesterday. You know, that said, still above average on these January days.
Still can't complain about it, yeah.
We'll take any day this time of year above average, except it sure would be nice to pick up more snow. And you know what? We may get that later this week. 30 right now is the number at the Sunport with some patchy clouds around. There are teens in Moriarty. It's cold around Grants this morning at 17 as well. Cold one in Las Vegas and Raton. And note in eastern New Mexico, we've got some breezy spots here. Winds 10 to 15. Santa Rosa, Tucumcari, Clovis towards the Roswell area. Feels like numbers. It's 19 is what it feels like right now in Santa Rosa. 18 Tucumcari. Look at that 7 in Las Vegas. Feels like upper 20s here through the Albuquerque metro. We're going to need a coat or a jacket on as you step out the door this morning for sure. Look at our statewide planner. Now, we do expect a gradual decrease in this patchy cloud cover around. Midday temperatures only in the 30s in eastern New Mexico, and it's going to be 30s and 40s this afternoon, running like 15 cooler than where we topped out yesterday. For central and western New Mexico, we're not going to match yesterday's highs, but we're back above 50 in Albuquerque, and look at those lower 60s showing up around TRC, Deming, in the Las Cruces area. The southwest will be the mildest corner of the state. This evening at 7 o'clock, we're 2 hours into our overnight cool down and back down around freezing in Santa Fe in the upper 30s here in the Albuquerque metro. Afternoon breeziness favoring east central and southeast New Mexico. There will be some wind gusts in the 20-mile-per-hour range. Not strong winds, but just kind of enough to stir the air at times. We catch occasional bouts of easterly breezes here in the Albuquerque metro. We'll work this cloud cover through first part of the day and enjoy some sunshine this afternoon, and we will be on the plus side of 50 degrees here. Can't ever complain about that on a January day.
You can. All right. Thanks, Eric. Let's get a check of traffic right now with Candy Cruz. Good morning, Candy.
Well, good morning, Royal. Right now, the roads really look pretty clear, especially here in the metro area. We do have a disabled vehicle reported on the freeway, though. This is I-40 westbound, just a little bit east of the Edgewood exit. Please reduce your speed. Keep a lookout as you go through there. Everything else looks good. From the News Radio 96.3 FM Traffic Center, this is Candy Cruz for Traffic Watch 7.
All right, Candy, thank you so much. Here are your live drive times. Santa Fe to Albuquerque is looking great at 39 minutes. Rio Rancho to Paseo, no problems there on southbound 528 to tell you about right now. And Los Lunas to Albuquerque, that's looking good at 17 minutes. The 2026 legislative session gets started tomorrow at the Roundhouse, and lawmakers are expecting a fast-paced 30-day session. The primary focus is passing the state budget, but leaders say other bills could move quickly as well. Some key issues include health care and public safety. With elections ahead and time limited, lawmakers face some pressure to show some results early on in the session. 2 pre-filed bills will attempt to address the doctor shortage and long waits for appointments. KOAT's John Rapolo explains the battle happening right now between one hospital and a state legal organization.
This is a press conference with New Mexico Democratic leaders from last week. Leaders laying out their priorities for the 2026 legislative session. They talked about medical malpractice reform, but
why are there no bills that are being submitted this legislative session to directly address that?
They will be submitted.
Fast forward to late Friday, when 2 lawmakers filed House Bills 99 and 107, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat. The bills seek to limit the amount of punitive damages that can be awarded in malpractice cases and attorney fees.
I was actually wondering how long until I can get back to my bowling league.
Last week, KOAT reported Presbyterian has been running powerful ads about disappearing doctors in New Mexico.
So we're really looking for thoughtful reform to protect patients and strengthen our healthcare system.
According to the hospital, New Mexico has the highest rate of medical malpractice lawsuits because there's no limit on punitive damages. After we ran the story, the New Mexico Trial Attorneys Association said some of the hospital's claims are not accurate.
In fact, our neighbors to the west, Arizona, they're saying let's expand our residency programs, let's open our residency programs to allow more physicians in. There are other solutions here.
Presbyterian says the no cap on punitive damages and lawsuits are causing malpractice laws to soar. Lopez disagrees.
I have a real problem and real concern with insurance companies raising the rates like this without explanation.
John Rapolo, KOAT, Action 7 News.
John, thank you. The governor's office got back to us saying she's planning to include medical malpractice on the session call. Happening today, communities across New Mexico are coming together to honor Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy of service. At 8 this morning, there will be the annual MLK breakfast at Grand Chapel AME Church in Albuquerque. At 10, volunteers can take part in a day of service cleanup at Petroglyph National Monument. At 11:30, a celebration lunch takes place at St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church in Rio Rancho. And at noon, a MLK Day program will be held at the State Capitol Rotunda in Santa Fe. There are a lot of closures because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That includes most city, county, and federal offices. There's also no mail service. Trash will be picked up here in Albuquerque. ABQ ride buses are on a normal schedule, and the Rail Runner will be on a Saturday schedule. New Mexico's Forestry Division is concerned after last year thousands of trees died. Our own Alyssa Munoz is live with this story for us now. And Alyssa, it sounds like there was a big jump in 1 year. So what's causing this?
That's right, Royal. Well, Victor Lucero, the Forest Health Program Coordinator, says it's due to warm temperatures, especially the ones we saw this winter, drought conditions, and native insects. Now, in 2024, 67,000 acres of trees died. Last year, that jumped to about 209,000 acres. Now, most of the damage is south of I-40, including parts of Lincoln National Forest near Ruidoso and areas west of Socorro in the Gila National Forest. Now, the main culprit is native bark beetles. Lucero says when it's warm and dry, trees get stressed and weakened, giving off chemicals that actually attract those beetles. Now, once the insects get under the bark, they tunnel in, cut off the tree's ability to move water and nutrients, and bring in fungus. Now, over time, that tree dies. And beyond the loss of trees, it actually can lead to other problems as well.
Not only, are the trees killed by insects, but then it poses, the potential for wildfire activity to be increased because now we have more fuel on the ground as a result of these die-offs.
Now, Lucero says one way they can help is by reducing the number of trees by prescribed thinning. Reporting live, I'm Alyssa Munoz, KOAT Action 7 News.
Alyssa, thank you. It is now 5:37. Immigration protests continuing across the country, including here in Albuquerque. How leaders in Minnesota and New Mexico are responding to the growing tensions. Flu cases surging across the state, and New Mexico ERs are feeling the strain. How health officials say you can help slow the spread.
20 minutes till 6 o'clock. We're making a little progress on this Monday. We're still over an hour from our morning sunrise. That's the Santa Fe Plaza in view, and it's been over a week since our last round of snow, and so there really isn't much left. It's all melted away off the grassy surfaces. We are way below freezing in Santa Fe this morning. It's 23 degrees right now. We're below freezing in Rio Rancho at 27. Last check at the Sunport, we were sitting right at 30, so we are a little below freezing here in the metro. Going to need a coat on this morning if you have to be out the door early and get yourself off to work. Later on this afternoon, it does look cool, but it will be dry and we will have some sunshine. This will be yet another January day above 50 degrees. Pretty nice considering the time of year.
It looks great. Thanks, Eric. If you're looking for a job, the Albuquerque Isotopes are hiring. This Saturday, they're hosting their annual job fair. This is video from last year's event. They have dozens of part-time jobs open, including bag checkers, greeters, ushers, and cashiers. If you're interested, just head on over to the Rio Grande Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park Saturday from 10 to 1. You do need to fill out an application on the Isotopes website before you show up to the job fair. You must be 16 or older to apply. Let's get another check of the roads right now. Things are looking really good out there. A lot of green on the map. We are watching this incident though. Here we're going to zoom in on it. There's a disabled vehicle on westbound I-40. This is at the Edgewood exit. So if you're out there at Edgewood heading into the Albuquerque metro area, that could slow you down. It looks like things are moving around it. But again, if you can try to avoid that accident, please do. We'll keep watching it. We'll let you know as soon as it clears up.
All right, well, we start this week off with dry skies. We're still running mild, but not as warm as last week. We'll be a little bit closer to the middle of January averages. Now, Friday into Saturday, we are watching for the next chance at some much needed winter precipitation. Both rain and snow could be coming our way. Had another one of these cold fronts slide down eastern New Mexico late yesterday. And, you know, in its wake, there's not a lot of moisture or any active weather to talk about. There's some leftover cloud cover. Note your afternoon temperatures in eastern New Mexico in the 30s and 40s to around 50 degrees. We're dropping by about 15 compared to yesterday. For the central and western part of New Mexico, it's highs in the 50s and 60s, just a little below where we topped out yesterday afternoon. Bouts of easterly breezes could be noticed, especially there in the east central and southeast part of the state. Should make a drop below freezing statewide tonight. It's going to be a colder night, colder than what we're waking up to this morning. Skies do look mostly clear. A lot of spots in northern New Mexico down in the teens. So after the colder start, tomorrow it's highs in the 40s and 50s around the state. Just not a day with a big temperature spread from north to south or from east to west here. We all kind of get the same thing. Should be a sun-filled sky, breezy in east central New Mexico tomorrow afternoon. As we look ahead towards Wednesday, it does trend milder, only by a couple degrees here around Albuquerque and Santa Fe. But in southern New Mexico, a lot of spots are back up around 60 or into those lower 60s. Should be another dry day with lots of sunshine on Wednesday, and the breezes should come in light around the state, except for maybe up around Las Vegas and towards the Clayton area. Our average high is 49. We're just a little above that to start the week. We do creep up into the middle 50s into Wednesday and Thursday. And then look at this, starting Friday, continuing Saturday. We have this chance at both rain and snow showers, and at least a chance at picking up some accumulating snow into Saturday morning, even here in the Albuquerque metro. Saturday will keep that wintry precipitation around, but Sunday does look like the drier half of the weekend, the day that, well, we'll all be flocking to the ski areas with probably some fresh powder left behind.
Great. Thanks, Eric. KOAT is working to learn more about a Dene man detained by ICE in Phoenix, Arizona. Navajo President Boo Nygren writing the reported detention by ICE agents in Phoenix is deeply troubling and raises some serious concerns about the treatment of Native Americans and U.S. citizens during federal enforcement operations. The Navajo Nation says it's trying to get more answers about exactly why this happened. Meanwhile, they're telling tribal members if they're approached by ICE at home, don't open the door unless agents present a valid warrant. In public, remain calm and don't run. And if ICE doesn't accept a tribal ID, request to speak with a supervisor, as tribal identification is a legal form of ID. That detention comes as immigration enforcement continues to spark protests and political tension across the country. In Minneapolis, Mayor Jacob Frey and Governor Tim Walz defended themselves after they reportedly are now under federal investigation for obstruction of law enforcement. Mayor Frey says he intends to comply with the investigation, but hasn't received a subpoena from the Justice Department. Governor Walz is calling the investigation, quote, a dangerous authoritarian tactic.
You saw the governor and the mayor actively encouraging criminals to go out on the street and impede ICE. That is not allowed under our law.
Protests also intensifying in New Mexico. The 8th annual Women's March was held at Civic Plaza over the weekend. Protesters rallied against what they called attacks on democracy and civil rights. Representative Melanie Stansbury explains many of the residents she talked with are scared about what the future may hold.
The overwhelming sentiment that people have right now is that they're frightened. They're frightened about what they're seeing with the federal government, the attacks on their rights, the lawlessness, the invasion of foreign countries, and of course the deployment of ICE and attacks on people, especially in Minneapolis, and wondering if our community is going to be safe.
The state Republican Party writing, quote, Representative Stansbury's statement is an example of fear-mongering and is causing more division. New Mexico deserves leadership that prioritizes accountability, truth, and solutions over fear-based messaging. Our communities are strongest when leaders speak responsibly. Actor and director Timothy Busfield's New Mexico court battle continues. His attorneys have filed hundreds of pages of new documents arguing that he should be released from jail as he awaits his trial. The filing includes a polygraph test and statements from friends and family. Busfield's lawyer also claims the parents of the children involved have a questionable history. Busfield is facing charges of sexually abusing 2 child actors on the set of The Cleaning Lady, a show filmed primarily in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. He's scheduled to be back in court tomorrow, where a judge will decide whether he'll remain in custody. UNM Hospital is at full capacity as flu cases continue to surge across the city. Fever, chills, fatigue, sore throats, and a persistent cough are just some of the symptoms of what some are calling the super flu. For people with underlying medical conditions, this strain can cause more serious complications, and they say prevention is key. Doctors say preventative care is really the best solution.
Make sure we get a vaccine for the flu. We really want to encourage that vaccine. That can help decrease the spread of flu. Of course, if you're also sick, please stay home.
The latest data from Tricor shows a sharp spike in flu cases across New Mexico, with RSV also circulating through the lower levels. Despite being at full capacity, UNM Hospital says every patient who comes through the door will be seen and cared for.